I'm a guy. We never planned for it to happen. Oh my god, I cannot believe I said those words. I wrote those words down as a child. Hi, it's me, Chio. Welcome. So for today, I decided to do a hopefully fun video. Hopefully fun for the both of us and not cringe. And the video today is about a story I wrote when I was a child. I've been asked on numerous occasions when I started writing, what types of stories did I used to write? How did I learn to write or finish a story? And I've always given the true answers to these questions. But it occurred to me recently when I was talking to kids that it might be more beneficial to actually see a sample of the kinds of stories I used to write as a child. Especially because lots of people think that when I make that statement like, oh, it was hard to write, I hardly used to finish stories, my stories were embarrassing, etc. I feel like sometimes people don't really believe it unless they see proof of it. Sometimes they think that, oh, a writer who is now like published might not have struggled that much, but I struggled. Oh my goodness. And I decided like, okay, I'm just going to read one of the stories I wrote when I was younger. And I went down memory lane searching for a story I wrote when I was a kid, and I came across this book. I remember when I bought this book, oh my goodness. And I wrote a story in it. You can see how old the book is. I wrote this story when I was 14, maybe no more than 15. But I think I was 14 when I read the story. It's a romance story. It's romance. I haven't read it yet. I haven't gone back to it again. So I don't know what to expect from the story. I feel like it might be embarrassing. And I say that because when I was younger, I enjoyed writing. But I was a child. So obviously my stories I had nothing to say. I hadn't found my own voice yet. So while the story I wrote is 100% from me, it was still not authentic because I mimicked styles I was seeing in other books and etc. So I was 14 years old and it's a romance story, so I don't know what I could have written in the story, but be kind to me. If let's hope this video actually goes online. If you're seeing this online, then either it's not that bad or I just said, you know what, screw it, whatever, and I decided to post it and take all the cringe, enjoy the process of the cringe. But yes, I'm going to be reading this story, the whole story today. If it turns out to be longer than anticipated, I'll split this video into 2 parts. So you will notice if I name the video a part 1 video. But yes, I will be reading a romance story I wrote as a teenager. So the title, this book is so old I don't even know how to. So the title of this interesting thing, I wrote it in pencil. That's like the most baffling thing. I'm surprised it hasn't faded yet. I wrote this in pencil over a decade ago. The title of it is If I Lost You. Chapter 1. Mark Smith drove down the highway. Okay, I'm already like baffled because the main character's name is Mark Smith, which is like 2 first names or something, and it's so for lack of a better word, white. I know, I am very sure this book was so white because those are the only romance stories I knew. I don't think I ever read a black romance then, so it was just what I knew to write. But yes, let's just go back into it and enjoy it. Mark Smith drove down the highway. He was stressed. He knew he wouldn't have been driving by this time, but he had to get away. A bar was no place to spoil your name in a fight, especially when you were a well-known businessman about to wed the daughter of the richest business tycoon in all of America. Mark was speeding and he was dizzy, so he couldn't see ahead of him. He couldn't stop his car fast enough. He was too late. He just hit someone down. He wasn't about to be blamed for it, but he knew he couldn't leave whoever it was there. He came down to help the person up. It was a woman. Are you okay? Mark asked. Okay, why I'm laughing now is like I just saw the next word and it's like as an adult I say the word normally, but as a kid I'd never use anything close to a cursed word. So for me to see that I actually wrote it down is just baffling. It's in the first page and I don't know what else I could have possibly written in this book. Are you okay? Mark asked. Crap, he just killed someone, he thought. She spoke. Her voice was nothing but a whisper, but she still spoke. Mark was relieved, but he had to get her to the hospital before something went wrong. He carried her and placed her in his car. You're going to be okay, he tried to reassure her. Then she drifted off. Emily decided to go for a walk. She just had an argument with her mother, Lily. She had to clear her head now. She saw a bright light ahead. Not thinking straight, she stood there, but before she realized it was a car coming toward her, it was too late. Blacked out was exactly how she felt. Luckily, that was all she felt. The last thing she remembered was a man, brown-haired, if her memory served her right, helping her into his car. Or was it kidnapping? Emily woke up in a hospital. What was she doing there, she thought. She tried to get up, but her head felt heavy, so she laid back, wondering what was going on, believing it was just a dream. There were people around her. One of them she recognized to be that man she saw some moments earlier, and a doctor. He was wearing the uniform. She closed her eyes and fell asleep, hearing voices in the background. One of the voices sounded familiar. She could have sworn she heard her mother too. But it was only a dream, she thought. Even if it was, she wondered what happened as she fell asleep. I feel like the story is interesting though. I remember people really liked the story. We were all kids, so of course we would have liked the story, but I'm pretty sure it gets interesting. Mark, where were you last night? Stephanie asked. She was sitting on a sofa with a okay, oh my gosh. She was sitting on a sofa with a silky cream nightgown and her hair was up in a bun. Clearly, she had been waiting there for a good period of time. How is that important? Can't I leave my own house anytime I please and come back anytime I please without being interrogated? Evidently, he was in no mood for questions. I just wanted to know, don't I have the right to? No, you do not have the right. As your wife, fiancé, we are not married yet, remember? I believe you should inform me about things from time to time. I mean, I was worried about you. Worried? The only thing I ever worry about is your dad and his wealth. Oh my god, I can't believe I wrote this as a kid. What was I thinking? We'll get through this together. Don't you say that. I will say whatever I feel like saying, Mark replied. He couldn't stand this woman anymore. All she ever thought was of making her father happy. He knew this was a failed relationship, but he wasn't about to lose his job because he couldn't handle a spoiled rich girl. Stephanie stood up. She was not going to let some guy shout on her. She was the person that always got what she wanted, and right now what she wanted was for Mark to explain why he didn't come back the night before. I guess if you choose not to tell me, you will always consider telling my father, she said. What? Is that your idea of a good relationship with your husband-to-be? Listen, I didn't sign up for this when I asked you to marry me. If I remember clearly, I proposed to you on my father's words. I am not marrying your father. I'm marrying you. But if you can't have it that way, I guess I won't marry you either. Wait, baby, I didn't mean it. Where are you going? Out. Oh my god, okay. He went for a long walk. He knew going home now would have done him no good. So he just kept walking. Some businessman I turned out to be, he thought. I can't believe I ended up engaged to that woman just for a business deal. He walked down the street, then headed left, not really thinking of where he was going. He stopped, then looked across the street. He realized he had walked all the way to the hospital, where that woman he hate was, so he decided to pay a visit. After all, he thought, it was the least he could do after what he did. He was just lucky it was a minor contusion, whatever. He went into the hospital and headed straight for the receptionist. She was a young woman, probably in her mid-20s. She was petite and had a bob cut. She smiled. Excuse me, sir. What can I help you with? A woman was brought in here last night. She was suffering from a contusion, about a head shorter than me, brunette. Oh, yes, sir, I know her. What relationship do you have with her? None, really. Sorry, we only let family members in. I think you would have to make an exception. He looked at her name tag, Miss Courtney. Or can I just call you Courtney? She smiled. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I did this. She smiled. Room 012 to the left. I have some explaining to do, he thought. I hope she doesn't freak out and call the cops on me. He went on the elevator, pushed the button to the second floor. When he got off, he walked over to the room and knocked, praying that she was in a good mood. He was in no way going to ruin his career getting sued. Come in, he heard. Crap, she's there. Well, of course she's there. What am I thinking? That she went out and would be back later, he thought. Well, here goes nothing. Even my italics is so horribly written. I don't even know why I did it like this. He entered. Who are you? Well, I'm the guy that brought you in last night. Oh, thanks. No problem. I swear, if I find the person who knocked me out, whoever it is going to be hearing from my lawyers. Wait, isn't that a bit harsh? I mean, after all, you are safe now. True. Pardon me, where are my manners? She stretched out her hand to greet him. My name is Emily, by the way. Emily, that's a lovely name. Thanks, and yours? Mark Smith. She smiled. He was a nice guy, she thought. Not always did a girl get rescued by Prince Charming. He was perfect, tanned but not too tanned, blue eyes, brown hair that fell along his neck, about 6'3", well built. He was just the perfect guy. What do you do? Well, it's not every day I give out my information to a complete stranger, but you can say I'm a businessman. Businessman, huh? That's cool. Honestly, I'm surprised you paid a visit. I was wondering if I would ever meet the man that saved my life. Well, it's the least I could do, ... Stop being modest. You didn't have to help me. He just looked at her. He knew he couldn't just tell her it was him who hit her down in the first place. He would tell her eventually, he thought, but not now. Right now, all he could do was help her out. Anyways, I'm going to be stuck here for about a week. Mother's orders to make sure no other problem arises, she said. So I hope you'll be coming to visit more often. I don't think I could survive a day over myself in this prison. No problem. I'll do the best I can. I have to be on my way now. Tomorrow then? Sure, till then. Mark stood up and walked towards the door. He looked at her and smiled. If only he was bold enough to admit his mistakes. He just hoped her mother hadn't told her she found out who the person was yet. He had to do it himself. So that's the end of the first chapter. Moving on to chapter 2. How many days left till you leave this place? Mark was sitting on the bed across Emily. She was eating a bowl of cereal and watching TV. I'm thinking too. Who's picking you up? What? Will I be able to catch you before you leave? I don't know. My mom is probably going to take me home since she's going to be around. Okay. He couldn't help it. He needed to be around this woman to protect her. He wished he could be close to her. She was beautiful but vulnerable. Oh my God. I can't believe I wrote those words together. I'm so sorry to you, to myself, to my childhood. But let's keep going. Let's power through this. He watched her. She was a brunette. Her hair curled right down to her shoulders. She was brown-eyed and had pink lips. He was happy he met a woman who he could be so free with and just have fun with. All he wanted was to be close to this woman. What? She asked. You look lost. Oh, sorry, I was just wondering. She smiled. Just wondering. Oh, by the way, I got you something. Oh, what is it? What is it? Emily took the gift from his hands and unwrapped it. It's beautiful. I've never seen a pendant like this before. So you like it? It's a get well soon present. Like it? I love it. Thank you. She leaned closer and pecked him on the cheek. Wow, if that's your idea of a thank you, I guess I have to be buying you more presents. Oh, shut it. She threw a pillow at his face. Oh, wait. The game is on. Oh my god, what kind of books was I reading as a child? I cannot believe some of these words I'm writing. Like I knew anything about anything. You like baseball? Sure, I love it. One question. Let's I just I'm so sorry to myself at this point, but I have to keep going. This is about baseball, by the way. Sure, I love it. One question. Red Sox or Green Bay Packers? Definitely Red Sox. Great. I hear there's a game next week if you want to watch. Are you asking me out? No, yes, maybe. Okay, the answer is yes. I'll give you my address and you can come pick me up. 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock. Mark drove home that night. He had a date. Wait, what was he thinking? He was engaged. This was not going to be a date. Just two friends having fun. He wondered what would happen if Stephanie found out about this. Great. She brought her dad over, Mark thought, as he drove into his driveway and found the busman's car already parked. He went to the door, hoping this wasn't going to be a drama-filled night. He entered. Mark, my boy, how are you? I hope you've been treating my little girl right. Sure. Sure? I hope you're not trying to pull a fast one on me. You know if there's a problem, I'll find out. Stephanie entered the living room. She was holding 2 glasses of sparkling wine in each hand. Here, Daddy, she handed him a glass. What were you two talking about? I just wanted to know if he had been treating you well. Well, I've been doing okay. It's just that I don't get to spend time with him. Lately, he's been spending an awful lot of time at work. He even stayed out all night once. But I'm sure it's all for a good cause. Right, honey? Right. I'm so proud of myself right now. Don't be so cold, honey. After all, I'm your wife. Fiancé, Stephanie. Fiancé. Mark, you make it sound like you don't want to marry my daughter. I hope you don't have any other intentions. Oh, Daddy, it's not his fault. He's been so worked up. After all, it's not every day a man runs a woman down with his car. She looked at Mark and smiled. You know about it? Of course I did. The busman looked puzzled. Wait, are you saying that he almost killed someone and he didn't even bother to tell you about it? Yes, Dad. Now listen to me, young man. If anything happens to my daughter because of your naive act, I will destroy you so fast that you'll be too ashamed to walk the streets. Sir, I have done nothing to harm your daughter and I'm not planning to start now. I hope not. Now, the only way you can make my daughter happy again is to take her out. So why don't you take her somewhere nice, buy her jewelry, spend more time with her? Is that a request? No, it's an order. The busman stood up and headed for the door. He picked up his coat. Oh, and one more thing, Mark. Don't break my daughter's heart, or I'll break you. The door shut as he walked to the driveway, got in his car, and drove away. Mark wondered how a man of 56 years could still strike fear in a man's heart. Well, that went well, he said sarcastically. He turned around to look at Stephanie. She was seated on the sofa like she owned the place. She might as well, with her dad around, she might as well own anything, he thought. Oh, honey, don't be like that, Stephanie said. I swear, I have had it with you and your father. And what did he mean by all that? You know fully well that I'm not a horrible person and I'm quite capable of protecting you. I know, it's just that if he knew that, I would have things my way now, will I? Stephanie, marriage isn't about having power, it's about love, something we clearly don't have. I know, but power is what you need and apparently what I have. Now, if you want to keep your job, you'll find a way to make me happy. Crap, he thought. How was he going to get out of this one without losing everything he worked for? The only way out was for her to call off the wedding. He hoped that would be soon because their marriage was in 2 months and he was not going to sign up for a divorce. Okay, you want to be happy? Here, I'll write you a check, give you money, anything. Should go on a trip, just get the hell out of my life. A trip sounds fun, but don't think you get rid of me that easily. I'll be leaving anyway. She stood up and walked to their room. But I'll be back. He cursed under his breath. How was he supposed to get rid of her? And worse, what if he did and went bankrupt? He just had to play his cards right. He should have never made that stupid mistake in the first place. Well, I'm still reading chapter 3 now. So my intention, obviously I was horrible when I was writing the story. I just didn't know much about anything. Yes, that's it. I didn't know much about anything. Whoa, Emily screamed. Nice game, huh? You bet. Mark was wearing and I can't believe I keep reading I Love Red Sox. Mark was wearing an I Love Red Sox t-shirt. He never thought it would be as fun with a woman as it was with his friends. Hey, I'm thirsty. Mind getting me something to drink? Sure, no problem. He left to get a drink for her. Thank God there wasn't a long line. He just couldn't miss the game. He bought some snacks too in case she wanted more. There was no way he was coming back here. Oh, thanks. The game went on. Looks like we're winning today, Mark suggested. Of course we are. Check out the scoreboard. They kept watching the match, cheering whenever their team was in the lead and booing the other guys. The game drew closer to the end, and as the spectators talked on the game, the ball was in the Red Sox hands. It was number 19 to take the swing. I don't even know what these mean. Mind you, I was in boarding school with little access to internet, and I knew even less about other sports besides running. There was no way I was going to know what I was writing about. But I digress. Let's continue this very interesting Red Sox bad baseball game. It was number 19 to take the swing. He hit the ball. It went higher and higher and all the way out of the field. It was a home run, putting the Red Sox in the lead, and the game was over. Whoa, they yelled in unison. The match was amazing. We have to celebrate, Emily said. Okay, so where do you want to go? His phone rang. Sorry, excuse me. It was Stephanie. Great. What would she want now, he thought. What do you want? Don't be like that, Mark, Stephanie said. All I wanted was to tell you that I'll be leaving first thing in the morning, since you might not come back this night. She's leaving, he said to himself. Yes. Why are you leaving and to where? That trip you suggested? Well, I decided to go. Where are you going to? France. France? Hold on a second. He turns to face Emily, who was waiting curiously for him. Who is that? Emily asked. It's my sister. Oh. He went back to his conversation on the phone. What are you going to be doing there? How is that your concern? Just know that I'm leaving, and since you show no intention of coming home, wait. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He looks at Emily again, continues his conversation. I think we need to talk. I know. Goodbye. Stephanie hung up. Mark wasn't sure of exactly what he was doing, but he knew he had to do it. Well, Emily said, I don't think I would make it tonight. Why not? You see, that was my sister. She'll be traveling first thing tomorrow morning, and I was meant to help her out. I almost forgot. I'm really sorry. Oh, okay. I promise I'll make it up to you. How's tomorrow? Say 6-ish? Sure, that will be fun. She smiled. I could take you home if you want. No, I'm not going home yet. I'll catch you cab. Are you sure? Yes. Okay then. Bye. Bye. Oh, the lies we weave. Mark got into his car and drove home. Great, the worst was yet to come, he thought. He entered into the living room. It was empty, so he climbed up the stairs to his room. Funny, he thought, he shouldn't be calling there his room since he'd been sleeping in the guest room since Stephanie moved in. She was seated on the bed, folding her clothes. Oh, good, you're here, she said. Yes, he came closer. So about that talk. Oh, right, the talk. Could you leave the clothes for a while? It's important. I see no reason why I couldn't pack my clothes and listen to you at the same time. I mean, it's not like Stephanie. She drops it. What? He sat down beside her. Look, before you go, I just want to clear things up. It's about 2 months to our marriage, and I want to make sure we are making the right decision. You'll be leaving tomorrow, and when you'll be back, I don't think there'll be time for us to think things through. So it's best if we choose now. There is nothing to think through. Yes, there is. A marriage is serious. It's a commitment. I'm a guy. I actually had a moment of brain freeze because I was reading the words and the words did not make sense to me, and I just realized why the words didn't make sense to me. It's not a grammar issue, it's a sense issue of the characters here. So I'm just going to read this how I wrote it. I'm a guy. We never planned for it to happen. Oh my god, I cannot believe I said those words. I wrote those words down as a child. I'm so sorry for myself then. You should have thought about that before you slept with me. I was drunk. So you said you loved me. Silence. I guess since I'm the woman, I'll have to be the one who'll take the burden. Don't put this all on me. Yes, I said I loved you. Honestly, I thought I did, but I didn't know what I was saying or what it meant. It doesn't change the fact that you still did. I know you were scared the next day. I wanted to do anything to make you up for it. Then you told your father that This book is intense. Then you told your father that I SA'd you when I admitted that I didn't love you. It was your fault. You lied to me in the first place. And I'm willing to pay for my mistakes, but if we get married, it's not going to solve anything. I know. So why don't you call the whole thing off? No, I can't. I won't. I'm scared. He couldn't help it. He had a heart. This woman who he hated, who he thought could never be weak, was right here beside him, crying and scared to hell. He drew her beside him and hugged her. Why are you scared? Because no other man would love me. Because if it's not you, then there's no one else. He looked her in the eyes and came to see that behind the bold and daring woman was a girl who was as scared of life as any teenage girl. Why is she a teenager all of a sudden? I pity myself. No, don't say that. I can't say I'll be happy if we got married, but I'm willing to learn to try. I mean, if you want. You know, there are plenty men out there who are dying to meet you. I'm just not smart enough to see it. She sneers. You really think so? I know so. Tell you what, you go on that little trip of yours, and when you come back, we'll start all over. What do you mean? I mean, I have to get to know you properly. He hesitated. After all, you are my wife-to-be. She looked at him, confused. No, you don't have to marry me. I'll call my dad and tell him the wedding is off. Don't worry, I want to. I think I might end up loving the you I never got to meet. She smiled. He stood up and walked to the door. What time would you be leaving? 6 a.m. Oh, and thank you. He went to his room, the guest room. He needed to clear his head. What have I just done? He said to himself. He couldn't believe that he had just screwed himself this much. He knew he had to marry her now. After all, he was the person that caused the problem in the first place. Still, he had the chance to just walk away from everything, and he blew it. This story is longer than I thought it would be, so we might get 3 parts of this video. But so far, the lesson I have learned from reading this is to not let teenagers read romance novels, especially those older romance novels that feel there's so much misogyny, and I can't even unpack what I just read, and I was person that wrote it. So yes, I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with that reality that I don't know if I even believe the words I wrote. That's the thing, like I can't remember that time in my life so clearly. So I don't know if I believed the words I wrote and really thought that this was how a good relationship or whatever I was built on, or if I was just regurgitating everything else I had read. But for the fact I picked up my pencil, bought this beautiful book then, and wrote those words down, this refresher might haunt me. I am so glad that I'm no more the person that wrote this. I'm so glad that I have found my own voice and I'm writing what I truly actually believe. But yeah, that is the video for today. As I said, I want to read like my own book, a book I wrote when I was younger, for people who are wondering if how to write a story or what to expect from their teenage life. I'm trying so hard to turn this into a lesson to give myself the excuse to read this. But yes, that is it for this video today. If you've liked this video, if it's entertained you or made you cringe as much as it's made me cringe, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and also leave a comment below if you want to see the part 2 of this story, and subscribe to this channel to stay updated on everything I post. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.